Okay, let's dive straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the brutal and frankly fascinating psychological truths behind people who choose not to post their lives on social media. We live in an era where everyone is sharing literally everything. So when someone just goes completely quiet, it immediately catches our attention. We're going to look at the clinical psychology behind this digital silence, and trust me, it's pretty eye-opening. To really decode these minds today, here's our agenda. We'll be covering the invisible social media user, the truth about privacy, strong self-concept clarity, internal locus of evaluation, escaping the digital illusion, and finally we'll ask, why are you posting? Let's jump right in. All right, starting us off with section 1, the invisible social media user. Think about it for a second. Do you know someone who never posts pictures online? I'm talking no selfies, no huge celebratory life announcements, and absolutely zero daily updates. In a world where nearly 5 billion of us are active online, constantly sharing, these people basically look like digital ghosts. Now, it's super easy to make snap judgments about them, but psychology shows us that this behavior isn't just a random quirk. It actually reveals an immense amount about their mindset and their emotional intelligence. Society loves to assume these invisible users are just hiding, maybe they're insecure, or maybe they're just super antisocial. But honestly, the psychological truth is the exact opposite. They aren't hiding at all. They actually possess a quiet, unshakable confidence that completely replaces our modern need for external validation. Basically, they've built an internal foundation of self-worth that is so strong, it simply doesn't require a digital thumbs up to survive. That brings us right to section 2, the truth about privacy. So, psychologists point out that individuals who rarely post actually score exceptionally high in what's called a high privacy orientation. What this means is they highly value having total control over what others see. Again, they aren't antisocial. They are just actively protecting their mental space by carefully managing who actually gets access to their personal lives. It's like having a VIP list for your life. And because they guard that mental space so fiercely, they operate very differently from the average user. While most folks are out there seeking validation through likes and comments, these individuals rely entirely on self-validation. Just think about how powerful that is. They can experience incredible life events, a promotion, a great vacation, and feel completely good about them without ever needing to broadcast it to the public just to feel secure. It's a subtle but incredibly powerful sign of true emotional independence. Let's move on to section 3, strong self-concept clarity. This is a really fascinating psychological framework. Research shows that self-concept clarity acts like an internal compass. People who share less of their lives online already know exactly who they are, what their values are, and what their goals are. The key here is they don't need an audience to confirm their identity. Because of that, they are significantly less likely to go chasing fleeting internet trends or get swept up in the whole digital rat race. And this brilliantly illustrates what it looks like to operate with an emotionally secure self-esteem. It's a type of confidence that just doesn't need constant feeding to survive. People with this kind of emotional balance literally feel complete on their own. As a result, you see some very distinct traits. They're generally way less anxious, they aren't constantly seeking approval, and they are hyper-focused on real-world goals. They aren't trying to level up an online avatar, right? Their feet are firmly planted in the real world. Which leads perfectly into section 4. Internal locus of evaluation. They operate using what's clinically called an internal locus of evaluation. Basically, this is a cognitive trait where they judge themselves strictly by their own personal standards, not the metrics, not the opinions, and certainly not the standards of everyone else. People who stay quiet online are often incredibly introspective, really deep thinkers. They just aren't interested in showing off, simply because the only judge they're trying to satisfy is themselves. Naturally, this cognitive trait spills right over into how they communicate with the world. Because their evaluation is completely internal, they think really carefully before they speak, and they only post when it genuinely matters to them. This results in a massive preference for authentic, deep conversations over those superficial, quick online exchanges. Let's be real. They would much rather have one deeply meaningful face-to-face chat than get 100 fire emojis on a story they barely care about. Now for a really crucial point, section 5. Escaping the digital illusion. So psychology identifies a massive danger online, and it's called social comparison theory. It describes this very human tendency to constantly measure our own worth against everyone else's highlight reels. Now, the individuals who avoid posting, they understand exactly how easily social media distorts reality. They see the digital illusion for exactly what it is, a heavily curated, often totally inaccurate display of life that just triggers this endless, exhausting cycle of comparison. And this brings us right to their ultimate motivation. By intentionally staying low-key and keeping their photos private, they are actively protecting their mental health from that toxic comparison cycle. To put it simply, they are actively choosing peace over performance. They absolutely refuse to step onto the digital stage, and honestly, their peace of mind is the reward. Let's wrap things up with Section 6.
Why are you posting?
So the next time you notice someone living that quiet digital life, definitely do not assume they're just shy. In reality, they might just be way more grounded, emotionally intelligent, and self-aware than most people operating online today. They've realized a fundamental truth. Real confidence is realizing you don't need to be seen by everyone to feel seen by yourself. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder as we close out today's explainer. The next time you're scrolling through your own camera roll and hovering over that post button, take a second and ask yourself, are you genuinely posting this photo to share a memory with your loved ones, or are you secretly posting it just to feel a little validation? Decoding human behavior always starts with ourselves. Thanks for joining me, and keep questioning what's beneath the surface.